Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to all our existing and potential customers. Thank you for joining our webinar today. We're excited to have you with us. Please note this session is being recorded and will be made available in the CareMaster help for your future reference and for anyone unable to attend today. Please save any questions until the end. We have set aside time to address them then. Additionally, we'll be providing a frequently asked questions document that captures all the questions and answers discussed during today's session. This session is designed as an information showcase and not recommended for a side-by-side walkthrough during the presentation. I'd now like to recognise the traditional custodians of our land by reading the Acknowledgement of Country. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather today, and we pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. We recognise their continuing connection to land, waters, culture and their contributions to our community. Today's session is to provide a comprehensive overview on the support at home changes. Today we'll be covering syncing CareMaster with Services Australia for real-time data tracking, participant profiles and budget tracking, managing support at home services and service organisations, creating support at home supports for approved services, our rollout plan and your next steps. I'd now like to hand over to our host here, Melissa. Please go ahead.
Hey everyone, I'm Melissa May. I'm the Technical Business Analyst here at CareMaster. My job this year has been very much focused on updating the CareMaster platform for the support at home rollout. So I'm going to take you through a few things today on what to expect from November 1. A few updates on what we've been doing for the last few months, what our project timeline is, what to expect around the launch of Support at Home with the Department of Aged Care and Services Australia. If you haven't seen those columns, we'll take you through some of that. There's some action items for our customers that can be commenced starting today. So we'll take you through that as well and where to find additional information. And we will allow enough time for Q&A at the end. So if you can hold your questions, feel free to post them in chat, but we'll do a Q&A session at the end where if anyone wants to turn their mics on and ask some questions, we'll be happy to go through those and then go through any questions in chat as well. So please do hold your questions for the end, but do feel free to get a head start and ask them in chat. But yeah, we'll definitely allow time. So I'm going to dive straight in. The big news we have to share, since some of you may have joined our last webinar, is that we are now a approved software provider with Services Australia. We've been going through that kind of lengthy process over the last few months to work with their APIs and pull in as much data as we can and get approved to be actually access their services in production and have you utilising our software for accessing all the participant data. So what does that actually give everybody? We will be able to pull in your care recipient profiles, which includes their classifications, their supplements, their budgets, and with that, all their entitlements, adjustments and things like that. We'll show you a screenshot of kind of how that looks. The full Support at Home service list, which if hopefully a few of you are now familiar with, there's a very sort of prescribed list of services that need to be, that can be billed against for participants under Support at Home. We'll show you a little bit of information about that. There's a whole lot of reference data, and you may have seen the term reference data get used a little bit with Services Australia, but for each support, there's a lot of mandatory data inputs and business rules that need to be catered for. We've done the sort of hard job of trying to decipher all that and make sure that we're capturing all the necessary information from you to make it easier to do your invoicing and claiming. And while we don't have in-platform invoicing and claiming available from sort of November, December this year, we will have early next year as an approved software provider the ability to do your invoicing and claiming through CareMaster, but at launch it will be through the bulk export, and we'll have more to share on that later, but just want to manage expectations that, yeah, that's still to come. So I do want to talk a little bit about what does that actually involve and what to expect from November 1. As part of now being connected with Services Australia, there will be a step that admins will need to do to authenticate with Proda. So it does require for an authorised representative with your Proda login to actually go to Proda, register a new B2B device. This is Proda terminology and lingo that you'll sort of become familiar with. You'll get a code, and basically you'll come into CareMaster and put this code in to authenticate, and it just tells us at CareMaster who you are on the Services Australia and Proda side. So this is a necessary step. It will need to be renewed periodically, but we've built that in for you. There'll be reminders that get triggered when it's going to expire. So that will become sort of a mandatory step going forward for anyone who wants to actually use CareMaster to manage support at home participants. That can be done from today. I'll go through a little bit more on those steps at the end of this presentation, just to get people to start setting this up from today. But we do have documentation and things like that we'll share shortly. What we'll do within CareMaster is at launch we will have 3 system generated service organisations. There's a lot of complexity I mentioned earlier around the home support, assistive technology and home modification service list. And so you can see here in the screenshot, these are the service codes. So they actually need to be, each support needs to be created using one of these service codes. For each service code, there is a set of rules around what type of items can you bill for under assistive technology or home modifications, what kind of unit types are valid. So it might be hours, it might be trip, it might be, in this example here, it could be a telephone bill that you're helping someone claim for. So we've built in a lot of that logic to import all of that from Services Australia. At launch, it is going to be limited to the 3. And you can actually set your default prices here for those services. So it will all be sort of built in for you. The added bonus is it will sort of also sync your approved services for participants. I'll come to that in a second. So once we've imported all your services, the next step is to import all your participant data from Services Australia. So we have a screen that will basically go off to Services Australia, say, hey, for your provider service ID, give me a list of all the participants. This is sort of a one-off bulk step that you will need to do at launch to sort of go, hey, here's the Services Australia aged care recipient on the left, and we'll give you the recommendations of who in CareMaster we think that these that relationship belongs to. You will need to do a one-off linking and syncing of those participants. So once this syncs, we will pull in all of that budget data that I referred to earlier, and I will show you some more screenshots here. But this is going to be a one-off step, and there is ways of linking and syncing as you add new participants to the platform. You can kind of do a one-off link and sync as well. But from sort of November 1st, you will need to do a bulk linking and syncing to cross-reference those care recipient IDs with CareMaster records. So that's just something to expect as an action from November 1. As I mentioned earlier, as part of the sort of prescribed service list, the participant records that come back from Services Australia and Aged Care will have approved services. So we will actually automatically enable all of that of the participant record for you, so that you can't accidentally kind of try to claim for a service that's not approved. And my understanding is at launch, HCP participants moving over should have all services approved. That's something we're sort of expecting to see, but keen to get some feedback. But from what I've been told, there should be all services approved for HCP participants going forward. I'm not sure about assistive technology and home modifications, but yeah, for home support, I'm expecting them to be all approved. But then as participants move over or transition to support at home, or new participants join, they may have only a subset of services approved. But again, these are kept in sync with the participant record with aged care. So as part of that syncing process I talked about earlier, we will pull in all of the budget information from their record. This replaces the old HCP package entry logic, So one of the big sort of pluses of integrating is there's no more creating entries, trying to enable supplements, trying to calculate daily rates and how they differ. The syncing of this data means you'll get all of their sort of open and past budgets. You will get their base level. So that could be, depending on their home support classification or their assistive technology budget, it will actually list out the supplements on top of that starting budget and any adjustments that come through. So that is all kept in sync. Periodically sort of saying, hey, press this sync button at the top just to make sure you've got the latest and greatest. There might be times where the new quarter has started. You may need to sync to pull in new quarterly ongoing support budgets. But yeah, we'll keep track of the supports that you create and whether checked or scheduled against that budget amount. But again, that can be synced and checked with Services Australia to make sure that you're not overspending. So this is a big kind of improvement over the HCP budget, where it's sort of multiple providers trying to draw down against a budget and not having access to that accurate information. That's now taken care of. So you'll be able to drill down into each of these budgets and see the supports that have been allocated against each. Also up here, the contribution amounts, if they're available, noting that not every participant may have these available from November 1, but if they're stored, we'll show you that, for independent services, they might have to pay 49.68% of contribution towards that. Everyday living and clinical support. So that information is all now available in the platform. The big portion of where our development's kind of go on is into this supports page and handling the many different scenarios for all the necessary information required for claiming and invoicing against assistive technology services, home modification services, home support items, and prescription services. There's a whole sort of slew of different types of services. And what you'll find is when you come into the supports page, we have you have to choose from one of the 3 relevant service organizations. Then you can choose the relevant service by service type code. And you can see here, we will present the additional inputs where necessary. So for example, an assistive technology service, you can choose a category like powered wheelchairs and an item, in this case, electrically powered wheelchair. You can enter the unit cost, or you can set a default one if you want to in the service organization, but we will pull out the relevant charge by unit types, which can vary. So in this example down here, for prescription, it was hours, it's now actually items, but you can see here, we do take care in asking you to enter this data, but we do adhere to all of the various rules based on the service type and the reference data that we get through from Services Australia. One of the tricky things, if you've been trying to get your head around it, is funding source versus budgets. This is something we've spent a lot of time on trying to get right, but when it comes time to claim, you will claim against a funding source. And then Services Australia has a claiming priority order in which they will see, does the participant have these budgets, and it will deduct from priority order 1 down. So in the example of assistive technology, the support will be claimed against assistive technology, but the participant may have Commonwealth unspent funds. And so we'll show you that in the supports page is where we expect the support to be deducted, which budget we expect the support to be deducted from. But there's also a kind of a reconciliation process we'll need to go through with Services Australia to kind of go, okay, this is where we claimed it, this is where we think it's going to come from, and then when we get the payment statement, we'll go, this is where it came, this is the budget it actually kind of came out from. So we've tried to do that, get that 100% accurate for you. to make sure you can claim against home support or assistive tech or home modifications or care management as well. So also in the screenshot, you'll see there's a bunch of different extra inputs. So for example, if it's an assistive technology service, you'll need to say, is it purchased or loaned? And if it's loaned, which sort of loan scheme did it come from? And what was the invoice number? So all those business rules are catered for. We'll prompt you to enter that information if it's required. And things like, is it a prescribed item? You'll need to tick this if it is. But yeah, we've done a fair bit of work there to try to get this 100% right for you, so you don't have to worry about, do I need to enter this for this type of support, for this type of item or service? There's also a call out here to say in December we'll have the ability to upload your invoices. There's multiples. There's invoices, quotes, and prescriptions that you may need to upload. A lot of those are for people on assistive technology high tier budgets. That's coming in December, so we've still got to work on the storage of all of those files, so that when it comes time to claim. So yeah, by the time it comes time to do the bulk export, we're hoping to have all that there for you, so you can store the evidence files with the supports at the time of creating them, so that they're sort of stored in one place so you can find them easily, rather than having to think about whose computer had it or who had an email copy of the receipt. That can come through to the support and be stored there as well. So we're working on that at the moment, but that will be there from time to claim. Yeah, there's a lot of complexity in that. It hurt our brains to try to get our heads around it. I'm sure you probably feel the same way. We'll help you with that as much as we possibly can. In addition to talking about all the item details, assistive technology products can have wraparound services. So this is an example of if you want to add a supplementary wraparound service on an AT item. So it could be a home modification, getting a ramp installed. It could be the parent support is for the ramp, the wraparound service is for delivery, and another one for installation and things like that. So we've built that into the form as well. Or it could be delivery, could be install. I think there's a few there. There's delivery, install, repairs and maintenance and things like that. Again, we work within the kind of confines of what Services Australia says. These are the valid type of wraparound services, but we build that in for you as well. And we do show you at any point where there's an additional contribution required. But when it comes time to claim, you'll see the parent item and another support for the wraparound. And yeah, the contributions may differ for the wraparounds. I'll move on. Transport. For those of you who may not have dug into the handbook, under support at home, you can only charge for direct and indirect transport services, basically where the participant is being transported. So you can no longer charge for kilometres for staff travel. You can't bill for parking and expenses. You can only charge for direct and indirect transport for the participant themselves. You can enable a transport supplemental on things like, group social support, for example, where you are transporting the participant to a location. This is just one example, but here you can choose between direct or indirect. They need to be approved for the participant. So again, we sort of check, is this participant allowed to, charge for transport services? If they are, you can choose between direct and indirect. And there's things like indirect, again, we'll say, is it a taxi, ride share, and is it a voucher or per item cost? So again, all that logic's built in for you. You can add transport services as a supplemental, or you can just do it as a standalone. So you could choose transport, indirect or direct over here. If you just want to just bill for the transport service, you can do that. That's all kind of handled for you. So Again, yeah, contribution amounts will be presented. These are indicative based on the percentage amount that we will get from Services Australia. It's possible that could change, and when it comes time to reconcile the payments, we will update that information available to keep track of what the contribution owed is. What I've just shown you is an example of what we're going to have for November 1. But we know that's not everything. So I want to take you through kind of what our rollout plan is for everything else. So from today, you can jump in and register your B2B device with Proda and connect it to CareMaster. There is an additional registration step. I will take you through that shortly, and we will provide more information about that via email. So hold on, I will talk about that in a little bit more detail. From the 1st of November, it's the things I've presented today. So it's the 3 system generated service orgs with the fully prescribed service list. It's the care recipient summaries, budgets, supplements, approved services, and contribution percentages. It's creating all those support at home supports with all those necessary data inputs and tracking spending of supports against those budgets. By December 1, I'm saying by December 1, if we get this in a release earlier than that, we will definitely release it as soon as it is ready. We will have the bulk export for you to upload to the aged care provider portal. And there's a note there that you cannot actually start claiming for support at home services until the 1st of December. And that's an aged care limitation through Services Australia. That's not an us limitation, but we will make sure that we have that bulk export CSV file ready for you to upload come December 1. We will need you to download the payment statement from December 1 and upload that back into CareMaster so we can make a note of which of those supports have been marked as paid. And we'll have the upload of the invoices, receipts, quotes, prescriptions in platform by December 1 as well. We are working hard to get you participant contribution invoicing. So this is something we didn't support under HCP. We didn't sort of help you charge your necessary fees through Xero or anything like that. But under Support at Home, we are going to allow you to invoice the participants for their contributions. And that will need to happen after you've claimed and you got the payment statement back. And once we confirm those amounts that are owed, we'll be able to help you generate invoices in Xero and upload some data to MYOB and KeyPay. We will share more on that as soon as we can. And I know a lot of you are probably keen to see monthly statements. We are also doing our absolute best to get that for you mid-December at this stage. We know you need to get statements out before the end of December, and that's obviously leading into Christmas. So we will do our best to get that to you as soon as we possibly can. And I just want to note there is expecting to be a new template to be published from the Department of Aged Care between now and the end of October. We'll be reviewing that as soon as it comes in and just seeing what we need to do to accommodate that. They are saying that the template is a guide, that we don't have to adhere to that 100%. We'll be, working on that as best as we can to make sure that you can send out your statements by end of December for the month of November. So watch this space. We will definitely share more on that as soon as we possibly can. And that's not all. Obviously, we need to continue working on this through early 2026, the first few months of the year. We are looking to do that invoicing and claiming integration directly in CareMaster, so no more bulk CSV unless you want to, but you'll be able to do your invoicing claiming inside the platform. We're also looking to include visibility of the service provider care management pooled funds. In case you're not aware, everyone has 10% set aside of their ongoing support budget set aside into care management, but those funds get pooled into a provider account. You'll be able to access that in the aged care provider portal, but we are looking to give you visibility of that inside CareMaster, and that's coming early next year. We know you'll want to start expanding those support at home service lists into new or existing service orgs. It's a fairly chunky piece of work, and so you'll need to bear with us. We need to work on that as soon as we can, but it's likely early next year. We know that you're probably going to want to do price ranges for services. I know there's been a bit of discussion at sort of Services Australia webinars, aged care webinars recently around, like, is it one price or price ranges? So things like transport per trip billing, we know that you probably want to have a range of prices. At the moment, it's just the one default price, but you will be able to edit that in the supports page when you create it. We'll be working on that. We'll have more to share. And obviously part of rounding out this project is we have to actually close off all of the HCP services. So you shouldn't need to use the HCP, anything around HCP from kind of December onwards. But gradually we will start removing kind of references to HCP in the platform. We'll give you a while to keep going in and getting the old HCP statements if you need them. At some point early next year, we will start to turn off access, but we will advise you when that is happening. So we're not going to just take it away from you and not give you a heads up. We will let you know what to expect and when to expect it. So there's a lot of stuff from November you'll be able to do in the platform. There's a lot of stuff we'll be working on to bring into the platform, especially early next year. There are some things you will still need to use the aged care provider portal for. So for now, that is uploading the bulk invoice CSV until we can do in-platform claiming. You will need to use the portal for downloading the payment statements and then uploading that to CareMaster, and we'll again provide more information about how that works soon. You will need to use the portal to upload your evidence files, which is your invoices, receipts, prescriptions, quotes, viewing that provider pooled care management budget. You will, and that's until early next year, the adding and updating of participant entry and departure records. So there might be times where you need to jump in there to kind of initiate their entry into end of life pathway or restorative care, or if they're departing with you as a provider, you will need to use the provider portal to make those entry and departure records, or update those update or create those entry or departure records. So you will need to keep using the portal for that, as you sort of do currently. There are some other things in there, like you should be able to use the portal to trigger early rollover of unspent quarterly funds. There should be some services coming in the aged care provider portal to let you do that. And also initiating participant supplements if they need oxygen, enteral feeding. I think that's something you already do currently, and that's something you'll continue to do. Haven't seen a lot of kind of aged care provider portal guides or documents yet on support at home. I think everybody's waiting to see what that provider portal looks like from November 1. But yeah, we don't have access to that, so be keen to share any learnings, or if you can share any learnings with us once you see what's in there. Which on that point, one of the things you might find us asking if you come through for support with us, we'll kind of ask you, hey, what are you seeing in CareMaster? What are you seeing in the aged care provider portal? Because again, they kind of should be sharing the same information. And if you're not seeing information on our side for participant, we probably say, hey, can you jump into the provider portal and see what's available for that participant in there? If there's a mismatch, there's going to be something we can probably dig into and work through. But I think we're all kind of on that steep learning curve of what to expect from November 1 and, learning as we go. So some of you may have seen this. I've just repurposed this. This has come from the Department of Health and Aged Care as to what to expect in and around November 1. If you haven't seen this, this is kind of from their official channels. But from 6 p.m. the 31st of October, the aged care provider portal and associated web services will undergo a release outage from 6 p.m. on Friday the 31st of October. until 12 p.m. midday on Saturday, the 1st of November, and the system is completely down. So nothing we can do, nothing you'll be able to do during this time. Following the outage, the provider portal and associated services will enter a read-only mode until at least 12 p.m. midday on Wednesday, the 5th of November. So at this point, you won't be able to submit any HCP claims. You might be able to see budget information for participants start to trickle through, but you won't be able to transact or make claims. So after the read-only period, providers will be able to once again make claims for October 2025. That's rounding out your HCP supports. And then, yeah, as I said, you may be able to start seeing your support at home budgets from that point onwards, sort of from the 5th of November. So there's kind of this few days where we're not quite sure what to expect. And we'll need to work with you to see what kind of data you're getting, and sort of go from there. So it's a little bit, a little bit unknown. It's new for all of us, I think, is the kind of key message I'm trying to get across. From the 5th of November to the 30th of November, they're suggesting that you need to get your HCP claims in as soon as possible to round out kind of the end of HCP and the start of support at home for all of your participants. So they're suggesting that you need to get that done by the 30th of November to start allowing of support at home claiming from 1 December. So I think what they're envisioning is from end of day on the 1st of December, you can start claiming for support at home services delivered in November. And so, HCP claims can start from 5th of November. So as I mentioned, we're kind of expecting, a bit of a little bit touch and go around kind of the 1st of November to the 5th of November. We'll want to work closely with you to kind of work out what's expected versus what's a bug. And, we're expecting a minimal amount of data that should start to trickle through. We definitely, as I said earlier, want to sort of recommend, okay, what are you seeing in the aged care provider portal? Okay, you're seeing information for that participant in there, then that's what we should be seeing in the CareMaster side as well. So, bear with us is all I can say. We're all a little bit, in the dark as far as what will actually happen on those first few days. I mentioned this at the very start of the slide, but while we haven't got everything ready to go and a lot of those support at home services would just not work, we can't get you any support at home budget data until post November 1, probably even the 5th of November. But from today, there's a few things we need you to do, which is jump into Proda. If you've got it needs to sort of be kind of admin authorized Proda kind of organizational level person who can jump into your Proda account and register a B2B device. We've got documentation on this. We will share that with you, so don't stress. There is a form, PDF form, again, that an authorised person needs to fill out. It's an AC027 form. It wouldn't be working with the government if there wasn't a few hoops to jump through, but it's a form that you need to send to Services Australia to say, basically, I want to use my Proda account and my NAPS ID to transact with CareMaster using the aged care web services. So again, we've got instructions on that. We've got a sort of half filled that form ready for you, but they won't let you use our software basically until that form's been sent off and approved. So you can get a head start on that now for sort of the first week of November. And you can actually connect that. You should be able to connect CareMaster to Proda. You won't be able to do much more than that currently, but you can jump in and add your B2B device key to CareMaster. It will need a version update to 1667.00, which was released yesterday. I will work with our support team to get you all updated so that you can get a head start on that between now and when you're ready to start using support at home services in CareMaster. And then from November 1, again, 1st of November to 5th of November is a little bit sort of foggy. But we do want you to try to jump in and start syncing your participant data and start getting familiar with the forms. We'll let you know as soon as that is there. But we're not expecting the sort of syncing to work until at least midday on the 1st of November. So yeah, we'll try to communicate more on that, and just have to work with you all to know what's happening and when, and keep an eye on whether data is starting to come through or not. That's kind of the big chunk of it for November 1. Like I said, we've got a lot more to sort of go through and share with you over the next 2 months. But if you haven't sort of done some reading, I do absolutely recommend that you go to the support homepage on health.gov.au. There's the program handbook. There is all sorts of FAQs. There's some detailed guides that were just published on AT and HM services. There's a wealth of knowledge. There's PDFs you can send to your participants to help them understand it. There is all sorts of there's a huge amount of files on there. If you want to get familiar with the claiming process and all the data rules, you can have a look at the Support at Home invoice sample files on the Services Australia website. You don't have to look at those, but basically they've got some examples of the CSV that gets uploaded to the provider portal there if you want to get a head start and have a look. But again, we've done all the assessment of all of that data, and we'll be helping create that file for you. But if you want to get a head start and have a look, you can have a look there at those sample files. We are busy writing all of our help articles on support.caremaster.com.au. So as soon as that's ready, it will be published, but you can jump in there and have a look. And if you have any issues, just a reminder that you can submit a ticket through our support centre. We'll be keeping our eyes peeled for any and all issues, and we'll be jumping on anything critical, hot fixing things left, right, and centre. If there's anything that's blocking you from doing what you need to do to run your business, while also just trying to make sure that we get all that other stuff needed before the end of the year. So yeah, we'll be here for you, working through that with you if you need us. That is it. I hope I sort of did brush through that. I wanted to make sure we left enough time for Q&A. I hope that's been helpful. I know we haven't, probably a bit late in communicating this, but we wanted to make sure we gave you the right messaging and manage what to expect for November 1. But happy to throw over to questions now. I might just stop sharing if that's all right, and we can see.
Thank you, Melissa, for your informative presentation. Ladies and gents, if you're interested in learning more and are not yet using CareMaster, we'd be happy to connect with you. Simply reach out to our team through the Book a Demo button on the CareMaster website. For our existing customers, if you'd like to schedule a one-on-one session with our team, we'll also be sharing the booking link to you after today's webinar. I'll stop the recording for now.
All right.